A woman convicted in a murder 30 years ago is up for parole. Today, the victim's family made a plea to keep her in prison.
Court documents reveal what federal authorities were looking for when they raided several central Kentucky businesses last week.
It's that time of year when we could all use extra cash, but some deals are too good to be true. I'll show you what to watch for so you don't fall victim to a scam during the holiday season.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening to you. An emotional plea today as a murder victim's family tries to keep their son's killer in prison.
Karen Brown and her former lover, Elizabeth Turpin, were convicted of killing Turpin's husband, Michael, in 1986. Brown goes before the state parole board tomorrow, but first, Turpin's family had their chance. WKYT's Sean Moody's in Frankfort with our top story at 6.
It was a lot of emotion in a packed room.
I can't take this anymore.
Tony Turpin told the board he didn't want to come back to hearing after hearing. He was 17 years old when his older brother Michael was murdered. He said the two had just started to become close.
He actually called me and wanted me to come over and hang out. And then this happens. Why? 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 They deserve to serve out.
That's what the Turpin family and their supporters are asking for, a serve-out. That's when the board decides someone will never be eligible for parole. Karen Brown was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Michael's father, Don Turpin, said he would work as long as it takes for a serve-out.
We're going to keep an eye on them and to keep their toes to the fire, more or less. We feel like if we don't show up, that they feel, well, they don't care, so we'll just let her go.
Karen Brown will get the opportunity to make her case to the board tomorrow morning at the Kentucky Correctional Institute for Women. She said in her last hearing in 2011 that was denied that she was reformed and would work hard to repay her debt to the Turpin family. The board could make their decision as early as tomorrow. In Frankfort, Sean Moody, WKYT.
The other two people convicted in that case have parole dates coming up in the next few years. Keith Bouchard is eligible in 2018. Elizabeth Turpin is eligible in 2021.
Fire damaged a central Kentucky Kroger this afternoon. A viewer captured this video of the flames at the store at Brighton Park in Frankfort. There were people inside when it happened, but everyone made it out safely. The fire damage was limited to a roof. There is some water damage inside. There's no word yet on what caused that fire, but the building was under construction at the time. He was heading home after his shift ended, but when an off-duty Lexington firefighter and paramedic saw a crash during his travels, he didn't hesitate to stop and help. That crash happened Saturday morning on I-64 in Frankfort. As WKYT's Hillary Thornton shows us, his quick action is credited with saving a Franklin County teen's life.
His shift had just wrapped up Saturday morning, and Lexington Fire's Jason Stowe was headed home to Oldham County.
I had left about 15 minutes later that morning than I normally do.
Putting a man who works to save lives each day in the right place at the right time, just behind this crash on Interstate 64 in Franklin County.
The two girls were outside of the vehicle. One was standing there kind of in shock. The other one was laying on the ground. She was definitely in shock also.
Those teenage girls, Franklin County high school students, who family members say were headed to take the ACT. Stowe says he quickly realized the driver was in bad shape. Then his instincts and training kicked in.
Checked to make sure that she was still breathing, still had a heartbeat, which she did. Kind of tried to get her to start talking to me, and then I proceeded to try to treat her leg. I didn't have any equipment on me, so I was able to get a bungee cord from one of the truck drivers, and I used that as a tourniquet to try to stop the bleeding.
A move that other first responders on the scene say likely saved the teen's life. A heroic act to many. To Stowe, he says he was just doing what he is called to do.
It's just kind of second nature. I mean, we don't even really think about it. We just kind of act. I think it's something that, anybody that, with any kind of medical training could have done. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Well, he certainly was. Stowe says he talked to the girl's mother and hopes to visit her this week as she recovers at UK Hospital.
Tonight, we're learning why federal authorities raided some businesses and homes in Mount Sterling. Court documents reveal last week's searches have to do with a multi-million-dollar fraud case. WKYT's Monique Blair is live outside the federal courthouse in Lexington with the new details. Monique?
Well, Sam, these search warrants were released to the public today. There are more than 400 pages of information here that tell us a little bit more about why those raids happened last week. Now, agents from 3 different federal agencies raided multiple businesses and homes last week in Montgomery and Nicholas County. According to the search warrants, agents searched the homes and businesses because they contained evidence of a conspiracy involving farmers, crop insurance agents, crop insurance adjusters, and tobacco warehouse owners and employees. The warrants say there is evidence that these people defrauded the Federal Crop Insurance Corporation by or assisting with underreporting harvest production in order to collect an insurable loss payment. Now, these warrants say the fraudulent payments collected are more than $3 million, but after we do some more digging, we may expect to find that it is actually more than that. And it is important to know that at this time there have not been any charges filed in this case. Reporting live in Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Monique, thank you. And last week's raids involved the FBI, the IRS, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I think you could see in that live shot that the wind is blowing. The pleasant days we've had, well, they're gone because changes are blowing into the area.
Yeah, you can see those gusty winds. We've got rain and much cooler temperatures. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's here now with the forecast. Kind of hang on to your hat kind of night.
It really is, you know, and it was one of those nights to where, boy, if you were a light sleeper last night, chances are, yeah, we're a little tired out there this morning when we were heading into work, right? Temperatures still above normal, but we have a big storm system across the Great Lakes. Same storm we tracked all last week for you. We said would become a big wind maker, and boy, we had those winds greater than 40 miles an hour at times this morning, even closing in on 60 miles an hour, not too far away from Bowling Green earlier. Thankfully, a lot of that is calming down. We're left with some clearing into southeastern Kentucky. Still some clouds, and anyone is fair game for a sprinkle or some drizzle, though the deeper moisture continues to pull off to our north and northwest. Current wind gusts, a far cry from what we were talking about this morning. Latest wind gusts for Lexington, 24 miles per hour. Likewise into Frankfort, 21 mile per hour gusts showing up into Richmond. Though back to our west, 1 low 30 into Owensboro. So still, anyone could see 25 to 30 miles per hour this evening for the gusts. Temperature still way above normal, still in the 60s southeastern Kentucky. Hey, if you're looking for December, if you're looking for maybe a festive snowflake or two, we may have something for you later this week. We'll break down a pattern that can deliver 1 or 2 of those festive flakes when I come back in a few minutes.
A school is collecting bottle caps as a way to remember a murdered classmate. 6-year-old Logan Tipton was killed during a home invasion in Versailles a week ago. The plastic caps Simmons Elementary collects will be used to make a bench in Logan's memory.
I wanted a way that maybe we could all come together as a school and do something to honor Logan's memory.
Jim Beam dropped off 800 pounds of caps, and other businesses have donated too. Donations can be dropped off at the main office, but the school will pick them up as well.
At this time of year, when many of us are buying gifts and looking for some good deals, it's easy to fall victim to scams promising extra cash or big discounts. Tonight, some red flags to watch for so you don't get taken during the holidays. The Consumer Alert is new at 6.
They asked what I was going to even do with the money. I should have said, take it and run.
She loved the idea of hitting it big around the holidays. $9.6 million big.
Oh, I was very excited. Lord, I could see all the people that I was going to help, you know.
Maddie Ramsey of Rockcastle County answered a phone call from a person claiming to be with Publishers Clearinghouse. All Maddie needed to do was send in a $950 fee to collect her winnings.
He made it so convincing that I actually believed that I had won. I mean, they're good at what they do.
But something didn't sound quite right about the offer.
The $950 was a big tip-off. If you have to pay to get it, see it first. You know what I'm saying?
If you go to the legitimate Publishers Clearinghouse, they warn of this very scam.
I mean, they even warn, if someone contacts you claiming to be from PCH and tells you you've won a prize award, then asks you to send a payment, stop, you have not heard from the real PCH. First thing they say is, we're not going to call you on the phone, we're just going to deliver it to you, and by no means would we charge you one dime to get your prize. That's against federal law.
With holiday budgets tight for many of us, it's easy to get taken advantage of with so-called great deals. The Better Business Bureau says always read the fine print when buying online. Look at this website out of Hong Kong. It has a return policy that includes a 50% restocking fee.
If the item isn't right, and their return policy is almost impossible to deal with, or there's a huge restocking fee, you may be out more money and more trouble than you counted on and have a disappointed gift recipient to boot.
Here's an example of if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Beats by Dre headphones usually retail for hundreds of dollars. One website was selling them for half that or less. The BBB says the site had a Maysville, Kentucky address. Now there's a law firm notice saying the website is shut down to keep counterfeit products from being sold.
They were getting them very cheap. They weren't getting anything when they sent the money, or what they got was really low quality. Further looking into it, found out this company was not in the United States at all.
In the last month, the BBB has issued an alert warning people about a scam involving the Amazon gift card. The Federal Trade Commission says if a merchant other than Amazon.com asks you to pay using an Amazon gift card, it's probably a scam. Amazon's gift card terms don't allow you to use Amazon gift cards to make payments anywhere besides Amazon.com and a few specific sites.
This is just another twist on the using untraceable, unrecoverable means of paying for something. If you can't use your own credit card or other methods of payment, you may want to think twice.
As for Maddie, she's glad she didn't lose any money, but she still feels taken. Why do you feel like you were scammed?
Well, I feel crazy sitting there talking to them nuts for 40 minutes. You know, it's like, why in the world did I hang up? You know.
Next time she says she will hang up. We do have two phone numbers for you. If you have any questions or suspicions about an offer, a company, or a product, you can call the Better Business Bureau serving Central and Eastern Kentucky. They can alert you to any possible problems. So here are the two numbers, 1-800-866-6668 or 1-859-259-1008.
All Kentucky National Guard members who requested tuition assistance will get help for the upcoming semester.
Last week, the Guard announced the program had run out of money, leaving 700 Guard members without a way to pay for school. Today, Governor Matt Bevin announced that Guard members can enroll, and the state will reimburse their schools for the costs. The General Assembly set aside more than $5 million for tuition, but a high number of requests, along with rising tuition costs, drained that fund.
The new year is bringing a new place to shop for groceries in Lexington. Lucky's Market will open on January 27th on South Broadway in the South Broadway Marketplace. The store carries natural and organic products. It is the 16th Lucky's Market in the U.S. There's already one in Louisville.
Now.